Hello and welcome back once again to another Senatus Populusque video. Basically to run over yet again what this is on the Paradox forums, on the Imperator subforum. There is a suggestion area, and the top 3 most upvoted, upranked, liked posts of the week are put into a special category of super awesome. And basically the plan for me is to go over these suggestions, give my own opinions, my rating, my thoughts and feelings on the suggestion, my feedback. We're gonna rate your suggestions is what we're gonna do. And yeah, so this time it is the third one that we're going to do, the 3 most voted suggestions from the 17th to 23rd of August. Bear in mind, as I record this, it is the 25th of August, so there's not going to be another one of these videos for like a week. Alright, so let's have a look at what we have here. So, in first place with 32 positive votes, it is Thor 8's Inventions Overhaul, New Features, Academy, and Inventors thread. So let's have a look at this. This is the second time we've had an invention sort of suggestion. So, 2 main things: change the invention system and add an academy and a new job, the inventor. Okay, now he's got a lovely little graphic as well, which is basically just, you know, you're adding an inventor here and an academy there, and the rest is relatively similar. You can boost things here. All right, let's have a look. If you read the first point, you may ask, if you research the inventions one by one in the same order, you can't choose which ones you prefer first. I mean, changing doesn't really mean that in thinking this, but sure, whatever. Okay, the actual system, sometimes neither. Sometimes I see 3 inventions of the same area I don't want to do, and I must research one of them to see more. Yeah, I've had this quite a few times. Generally, it's tribesman output or tribesman happiness. In the, I think, civic inventions area, there's something fun and useful beneath them, but you can't get to them without making your tribesmen do things. And when you're spending sometimes upwards of 1,000 gold on these inventions that are absolutely not in any way worth it, just so you can get to ones that maybe are, it's not really a good feeling. So, to solve this, I had the Academy and the Inventor character. So, the Academy we have here. Info about the skills of the inventor, martial, civic, orator. Okay, so it's basically, you know, the dude's stats. The inventor could be a generic one or specialized in one of these 4 areas: strategist, engineer, speaker, or prophet. It is generic, it'll be easier to implement, but a specified one like engineer can emulate Archimedes in Syracuse or Jesus in Judea. We're not getting Jesus. Archimedes, sure. Jesus, no. And I guess that if you're only going to have one inventor, you choose one person to be the inventor, and if obviously you've got a strategist, he'd go for martial. If you've got an engineer, he'd go for civic. A speaker would go for oratory, and a prophet would go for religious. Prophet doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I don't think prophet is a good one to go for with religious. It would need to be very culture specific, so for some, maybe a prophet does make sense. For others, maybe an oracle, or maybe a cleric, or something, some high-level priest person. But prophet doesn't make sense for every religion. So, we've got this. Why are you hiding everything inside spoilers? Okay, so let's go and have a look at the actual invention system. Right? Why did you hide that? Anyway, the new invention system will put all inventions in order. Alright, that's why he's asking if I read the first point. Alright, so all the inventions will be in order, and they'll be researched alone just by 1. So you get all inventions one by one by one. Ugh. You could pay if you want to research it immediately. For example, every area, martial, civic, oratory, and religious, have 3 inventions for every technology level. The first invention you research will be those 3. At first, one of them, when you research, you'll have the next technology available. Okay, so once you've... Okay, you have to take all of the inventions before you can reach the next tech level. Well, that's interesting. when you research the 3 technologies, you'll be able to research the technology when you reach the same technology level, and then 2, 3, etc. Okay, so he's basically mixing up the what is an invention, what's a technology. So basically he's saying that, this is what I think at least, you will have to take all 3 inventions before you can reach the next technology. And then the next technology will come up, and you have to take the next 3 before you can get to the next one again. You'll be when you research the 3 inventions, you'll be able to research the technology when you reach the same technology level. I think that's what he means. It's hard to tell though, honestly. Boost button, I think he means. The investigators will have a button to boost the invention's research, maybe boosting 15% of the selected area and decreasing other areas by 5% every 5 years. If you want, you can focus on martial inventions. You'll be able to research the martial inventions 15% faster. You'll get in other areas researching slower. Yeah, makes sense. The price to research the inventions faster is based on the price of 100% of the invention. Okay, so if you're spending 20 ducats 0.25, then boosting is going to cost you 20.25? Is that it? And now he's calling them inventions instead of... I thought this was technologies. It's really hard to tell sometimes. I mean, I've got... There's no, like, animosity here. I mean, I live in a country where I do not speak the local language. So I totally get it. No animosity there whatsoever. It is just a little bit difficult to understand what he's trying to say. Okay. If you research 56% of the invention, you should only pay for 44% to research. Okay, so if you get halfway there, then clicking this button will only cost you half of what this is. Okay. Alright, I get it. That's nice. That's good. And you can get it immediately. Yeah, you can pay to get them immediately. Okay. Oh, okay, I think I get it now. So basically, you'd have your inventions, and they would go up. You'd not have to pay for them, they'll just slowly research them. Or you could purchase them immediately by paying for the invention. But if you've gone here, there's like, what, 65%, something like that on this green bar, then you'd only have to pay, 35% of the cost of the entire thing to get the invention. So you could either wait for the invention or you could pay for it, as we pay for them now. Okay, now I think I understand it and I like it. Option 2, the proposal that we've seen before from Cantoli. For a technology overhaul, the technologies are grouped into different areas. Maybe the inventions could be similar to Cantoli's system proposal. I like Cantoli's system proposal. That is what we saw in the first video that I did in this series. I'm in favor of his proposal. Okay, moving on. If you read the first point, if you research the inventions one by one in the same order, you can't choose which one you prefer first. Alright, so in the actual system, sometimes neither. Sometimes I see 3 inventions in the same area I don't want and must research one of them to see more. To solve this, I had the Academy and the Inventor. So in the Academy, you'll have a new room in the technologies. I think that means he's going to have a new UI page that opens up. If you guys give me feedback to improve it, write the suggestions below and I can add some areas to the main post, but for the moment I'm just going to keep it simple. As you can see the picture above this, you'll see square for the portrait of the inventor, if the country has it. If not, the portrait will be grey. Having an inventor or not, you can always open the academy and choose some decisions, but another specific decision will be available for having an inventor. So, the inventor. The idea is to add a warning to let you know when an inventor is available for your kingdom. Okay, so it's not just you can put anyone there that you like. It would be a special character that would be specifically an inventor. Okay. Base probability to find an inventor for your kingdom in the early game should be very low, like 5 to 9% chance every year. You can increase with the civilization, number of citizens, noblemen, and the number of academies you have in your kingdom. Generic or specific inventor or both. Once I begin to write this post, I thought the inventor should be generic. I think it means, like, just putting anyone in your country there. But later I realized the inventor could be a specific job with the 4 skills the game has. I mean, the inventor could be a strategist, an engineer, orator, or a prophet. I've already gone over those. Maybe the developers can add 2 kinds of inventors, a generic one and a specific one. If you get the first, you'll have relatively good bonus to any area, but if you have a specific one, you'll get a boost even more to the area the inventor is skilled. For example, if you have an engineer, you'll get a boost even more with the civic inventions. Okay. Maybe prophets could just be for monotheistic religions and be able to be added later as gods to a pantheon. Maybe every religion should have a different name for this. Druid for druidic religion, scholar or erudite for Hellenistic. That's basically what I said already. So yeah, it's good that he recognizes that as well. Decisions. The decision are still to decide which should we add, but one is very important. So choosing a specific invention decision. If you choose this decision, you should choose a knowledge area. In case you have a generic inventor. Imagine you choose the civic inventions one, then you'll see a list of all the inventions in order, and you'll be able to choose one of them and put it in the first position using political influence or maybe another thing. Okay, so if you're seeing all of your inventions, as his system has them all in a line that you have to go one by one by one, you can basically drag one from a little bit further along and put it first at a cost of political influence. That seems incredibly powerful. Not gonna lie, that is... I mean, if it scales, like the further along that invention is, the higher the political influence cost that would be able to go over 500, I could see it working. But otherwise, that seems really, really powerful. It can't just be a flat cost, for example. Alright, for example, you have Civic Invention B, the tech researching right now, is greater than Civic Invention C, which is greater. Oh, this is not greater than, it's just a... this happens first, then this, then this. Then Civic Invention B, the tech you want to be first, then Civic Invention C. You could set this one to be research first, so B goes first, then B stops. Alright, so yeah, I think it's basically he's wanting to drag this one to the first place. It does seem very, very powerful though still. So now we choose the invention we want from all the inventions available until the last level of technologies we've researched. Okay, so you can't just drag it from, like, he's only tech 2, so you can't drag it from tech 8 or 9 or whatever. You'd have to drag it from, you know, either level 0, 1 or 2. Okay, and that makes it a bit more balanced. In this case, we can't see 6 technologies because we didn't research tech level 6 yet. Okay. I think decision is very important to keep the inventions you don't need away. For example, your land has no sea, or if it has it, you're not interested in ships, you should be able to keep the naval inventions for later. Alright. Alright, so now on to the academy. So we've already sort of seen what this generically is. Okay, so let's have a look. The question now, if you like the proposal, is to decide what to use to pay for these decisions. Political influence or maybe a new coin you can only see in the academy room. I think adding a new currency is probably a bad idea. Maybe the developers should add research points to waste them on decisions. Could be interesting. The political influence can be used in other things. What about spending these points? You can slow down your oratory advances, your oratory tech, to take an invention instead. Just a suggestion. And there's a research points icon, a little bit of pie. Period strategists like Philip II, Alexander the Great, both before the game starts. Engineers like Archimedes, great orators like Plutarch and Cicero, and prophets like Jesus. No, it didn't. I mean, yeah, he says that these before the game starts. These are during the game. Cicero is sort of like right at the end. And Jesus is much, much later. It'd probably be nice to make the game even more realistic. I don't know if I agree with that, to be perfectly honest. I don't think it's realistic. It's just a different way of doing something that can never be realistic. Right? I don't think there is a way of doing a technology and invention system that is purely realism. You can try and get close, of course. You can try and get as close as you can, but I don't think this is never going to realistically depict how technology worked in this era or any era. So I don't think it makes it more realistic. It may make it more interesting, But I will say I do prefer the other technology system that we reviewed in the first episode. So it's not a thumbs up, it's not a thumbs down. It's sort of like that in between flat hand. That's where I'm going with this one. But yeah, interesting one at least. All right, let's move on to the second place. Character Family Trees by Marcus Pica. The second one we've seen from Marcus Pica in this in this list. So let's have a look at that. So I suggest adding family trees to improve player immersion and role-playing with the characters. Agreed. Solid agree. Before the mission system actually came out, back during PDXCon in Berlin, I was talking to Arheo. This was obviously, like I said, before mission tree system came out. I was talking with Arheo about it, and he was saying that it was a very potentially powerful system, as it was able to dynamically create mission trees based on your location, your region, all that kind of thing. And one of the things that I asked about is, is it possible to add a family tree? And he said that the mission tree system would be capable of doing that, potentially, where it's able to dynamically create, how the missions sort of flow into each other is the same sort of way that a family tree would work. So it's possible to have it be, the mission tree area be dynamically populated with people, because of, in a family tree kind of style. So I solidly agree with this. I will say it's very difficult to do family trees. Like, family trees are difficult to draw at the best of times. You go 270 something years, or however long the game is, you're gonna really, really struggle to get a full family tree fitting on a page. It would be really quite a struggle. Doable? Yeah, probably, but it would be huge. You'd have to close off many branches and not kind of track it. And if you're doing that for every single character in the game, it would get quite heavy, I think. I think just like, direct family and only tracking, the main line, not really tracking, your brothers, kids, families, brothers, uncles, dogs, grandma. Just getting that, the main line, I would totally see and quite like. I think it'd be a good idea. But anyway, yeah, adding family tree, yeah, agreed. Is it Basilius or Baelius? It's Basilius. Suggested adding character history or marking important events in their lives. For example, consulships, triumphs, duels, etc. Agreed. Yeah. Things like having this character was a general in the battle of Bleu de Bleu against the Bleu de Bleus in the year of de CE or whatever. That kind of thing would be pretty cool to have there too. Manager suggested adding a global character finder. Yeah. Didn't Agamede's mod have something like that? A character finder? I'm fairly sure it did, because you're able to poach really good characters from other nations to, be your researchers and such. And I'm pretty sure one of Agamede's mods was all about that, made it a lot easier to find characters that you could poach. So there's some kind of functionality that allows that. Fairly sure. And then Basilius also suggested adding a cultural specific random name generator, thinking of babies. Is that not already in? Can you not is there not a culturally randomized button when you have a baby? Is that not a thing? Fairly sure that's a thing. Is that not a thing? It might be. Maybe not. I don't know. Alright, fair enough. I'm constantly searching for the ancestors of current rulers and important people to see who preceded them for role-playing purposes. It's very satisfying to discover, for example, that the mighty king of, say, the Illyrian kingdom of 50 BC is the great-great-great-grandson of a tribal chief of a small Illyrian tribe in 304 BC. Ever since the favourite character style was added, I find myself tracking the descendants of the original ruler or other important characters from early games. I do this by favouring all their children and children's children every few years, so I have an unbroken connection to the ancestor. My god, your UI is going to get crazy. In this way, my outliner contains dozens of preferred characters, which would not be necessary if we had family trees of characters. I think all you need really is the original ancestor favorited, and then you can just go through by clicking on their kids in their, character UI. But, messing up your outliner is also an option. It's not a good option, but it is one. There are different playing styles. I'm sure the players who come from CK2 and other players who prefer RPG aspects play the game by helping their favorite characters or families achieve long-term success. I think this niche is quite popular, so character family trees would be a welcome addition to Imperator Rome. I think even people who don't do that would also appreciate a family tree. Yeah, no, I think yes. Basically, yes. The current problem with the implementation I see is when a major family turns into minor characters, the game does not save their last names, so we have the null family bug. That would need to be amended as well. Yeah. Amend this. Agreed. This is the suggestion. Yeah, no, I see nothing to disagree with here. Good suggestion, Marcus, yet again. Minor point about characters, could we please see the age which our characters died? Yeah, no, yeah, can I have that, please? That would be nice. That would be very nice. But yeah, good suggestion. Nothing to disagree with. I like it. Alright, now finally, third place goes to Toadie and his thread entitled Squalor, a mechanic that dynamically disincentivizes and disperses extreme concentrations of pops. Yes, I want this so much because megacities are awful and should be murdered. In the crib, yes, megacities bad. So, background, population efficiency, and large cities. After the changes to population and trade systems in 1.5, it's become clear that the way cities and their efficiency on population output grows has changed, but it is still very significant and pretty much uncapped. Big cities are for sure fun, and to an extent, it's good gameplay setting up the circumstances that allow them to grow and thrive in size and efficiency. It would probably not be fun to have their size capped in any arbitrary way. However, the lack of restrictions on cities and province size beyond how much food you can import and how much you can grow your population capacity can end up crowding out other interesting uses of political influence, nation building, and the importance of provinces other than your capital. In 1.5, the limit of food supply has actually been made more fluid and uncapped than before. Since the higher class pops generate import routes, that means they can feed themselves as long as food is available for import. The scaling of population capacity has become slower as the modifiers are lower at the start of the game. The modifiers can still grow at a steady rate through province investments, however, and can still reach and exceed the point where the increase to the base pop cap exceeds the 10 pop needed to unlock another building slot. So, justification and problem. Just to go over this, I think one of the... He didn't really go into population efficiency here. The big problem with megacities and why you would want them in the first place is that for every building that you construct in your megacity, say you've got a building there that increases your manpower output from Freeman by 10%. Well, you want as many pops as possible to be affected by that 10%. So it is more efficient to build that building in a city with 1,000 freemen than it is to build it in a city with 10 freemen. The same with the Academy for Research or the Library for Research. I don't even know anymore. Basically, more pops being influenced by individual buildings makes the buildings more efficient. They're more cost efficient. And that gets to crazy levels that are just ridiculous. Like, for example, Rome was not crazy efficient. It didn't produce the most amount of money and manpower in the empire. A lot of people moved to Rome looking for a better life, and they found themselves basically subsiding on bread that was given by the state. And, their lives were not better, but they got free food. They got free bread. And that's something that I guess they couldn't find in the countryside. They weren't contributing to Rome's wealth. They weren't contributing to Rome's like the state's wealth or anything like that. They didn't pay taxes because they had nothing. They had nothing to give. All they got was some bread. Whereas every single pop that is in Rome in Imperator is affected by the buildings that are in Imperator. There's no unemployed pops. So a megacity in Imperator, to be a little bit more realistic, would have a new pop type, the unemployed one, where you don't want them because they're purely a drain on your economy, and you want to give them jobs, but there's no job in Imperator. There's no job class. There's no metadata on any of the pops saying this character is employed or unemployed. It's not a thing. Anyway, I'm ranting about megacities again. God damn it. Let's go back to this. So, the existing constraints of scaling of city size and the productivity of these capital cities lacks enough dimensions to make for a compelling balance throughout time and place in game. Countries who can't establish capitals and build cities in favorable locations with access to ports, decent civ value, technology, and ability to build road networks will struggle to even begin scaling their cities, while civilized nations with access to these things can not only start scaling, but reach a point of exponential scaling where other avenues of influence, expenditure, and overall attention and investment are not worthwhile when compared to full attention and priority towards the capital city. Alright. So he's basically talking about, there are certain places where building a megacity is worthwhile. Syracuse is a really good example. That's where a lot of the megacities I've seen are built. Somewhere with a major river on farmlands. You want the warm period, so having that be a thing. The ability to expand, so you can migrate more pops to your capital. Having it be on the major river, but also on be a port somewhere like Pella, for example, is a really good location for it. A province with a lot of ports as well, because that increases the amount of trade routes you can get. All these kind of things really impact how good a location of a megacity is and whether it's even possible. But I will say there is other things in less civilized nations are able to do. So any tribe can become a migratory tribe, pick up literally everybody, and move them all to a single city. And yeah, you're going to be overpopulation capacity real quick, but you could just drip feed the pops in, build an aqueducts, drip feed more, build aqueducts, drip feed more in, etc, etc. Like, there's no problem with just leaving 1,000 pops standing around as migratory units just above a city. There's no difference. So I will say that you're kind of forgetting about the migratory megacity, which is just fucking stupid, but it is a thing. Anyway, moving on yet again. A way forward would be to add another dimension to the equation, one that has almost no effect on the smaller cities, but a dynamically growing effect on the larger cities. Squalor. I think adding a new dimension to how we make pops efficient can open more doors than it closes. It can open up more cool ways to rework or improve the trade system, reduce restrictions on the migration system, and more, with significantly reduced proclivity for such changes to make the larger cities even more unbalanced in new ways. So, the suggestion is Squalor, the state of being extremely dirty and unpleasant, especially as a result of poverty or neglect. Large cities in ancient times were prone to get quite messy. I'm not the best informed around here when it comes to historical detail, but enough to find a reasonable proposition that Squalor might be an immersive concept to abstract and model for cities in the game. It seems okay to propose that cities could make room for a lot of people to settle and enable through production and imports of food to survive, but that at times this would be done at a speed and scale that created ripples and problems for these cities and their social, political, and economic interactions with their surroundings and overlords. In terms of game mechanics, I'm sure professional game developers could come up with a neat system that fits with the existing systems in a good way, better than I could. I'll just throw out some key rough ideas to tease the reader's mind. So Squalor growth could be caused by the number of pops, food consumed and unrest, low stability events, and more. Squalor impact could be increased food consumption, only slightly if high food consumption also increases Squalor. Yeah, could that be a negative spiral that you probably wouldn't be able to get out of very easily. Reduced population output, reduced population capacity, reduced migration attraction, increased migration speed, and bad events like fire and disease. I would definitely remove this one, but I would absolutely keep these ones. I mean, the big problem is Imperator sort of models it, like I said earlier, that the more people, the more efficient, when that's just not the case. It's not even close to being remotely close to the case. You know, the bigger cities were the least efficient. Rome was not efficient. If you're talking about, you know, the amount of economic output per person who lived in the city, Rome was probably the worst, the least efficient city in Europe, by a long, long way. So, you know, having the big cities be the most efficient just really smacks of crazy. But, you know, if you have quite a lot of squalor, so I guess what I was talking about before, you know, these would be the unemployed people. Reducing population output and capacity, I'm totally in favor of. Reducing migration attraction, meaning not new people won't be migrating to Rome. I'm talking about Rome as like it's the titular example, I guess. So less people are going to be moving towards Rome, as you know, there's a bunch of squalor and there's too many fucking people there. And considering migration is the way that you create these megacities, I think it's a good thing to reduce. Increasing the migration speed, meaning people leave Rome at a increased rate, that's good as well. And then bad events like fire and disease, I've made these suggestions before, we've read these suggestions before. Adding fire and disease is always going to be a good idea when it comes to reducing the impact of a megacity. So yes, totally agree. Squalor reduction over time could be caused by a base decay, resulting in low to no squalor from most settlements and cities under a certain size, like 100 to 300 pops. Granaries or other new buildings. Trade goods reducing squalor produced by certain pop types. Like what though? A new governor policy, the existing decentralized policy, certain governor traits, ruler traits, etc. Laws, ideas, faction interactions, schemes for owners of the local holding, coordinate urban development or similar city-level influence expenditure, scaling in cost if repeated. Suggestion was brought to you by a previous discussion he had with Denkt, which I haven't seen on the forums for a while, on a wider topic. So that is that one there, if you want to go and read that. But that is actually all I personally have time for right now. So I'm going to leave you with that. This one, I agree. Anything to reduce the size and impact of megacities in the game is going to be a solid agree from me. Absolutely, 100% of the time, because it's bad and you should never be, you know, using these. Answer to how the subforum works. He's got a good point. Actually, yeah, we'll read this in a second. Doesn't suggestion post on the 17th, so, you know, this is the 17th to the 23rd. I have a higher chance to get many more votes than one posted on the 24th because it's been seen by more people and available for voting much longer time. Already seen trends in place throughout the week for being reversed over the weekend. However, you may also decide to wait until Monday to post your suggestion if it seems safer to you. Should I delete and repost it today? Is it legit? If you submitted your suggestion late on Saturday and didn't know about the rules, there's actually no problem with that. Alright. Since creation of subforum doesn't mean that devs no longer read the main suggestion forum. They read everything. But this just lets them know what people like, I guess. Alright, so to just summarize my thoughts, Invention's overhaul, I prefer the Invention's overhaul we saw earlier from, his name began with a K, but I've forgotten it. Bit iffy on that one then. The character family trees, yes, with some caveats, and then Squalor, solid yes, no caveats. And I want it to go further than that. I guess the caveat is, you're not going far enough, you're not killing megacities enough. Do more. Be better, Toady. But yeah, third place should be, you know, higher up, I think. But yeah, that's all for this video. So I want to thank you all very much for watching. If you want to support the channel, then you know, likes and comment. Let me know which one of these suggestions you like the most. Let me know what your suggestions are. Maybe you can post in the Senatus Populusque forum, and I'll be reviewing your suggestion at some point, perhaps. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you want to support me on Patreon, there's a link down the description below. But other than that, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.